All right, so good evening, everyone, once again. So, all right, so we are going to continue our class from where we stop. So we've launched our Bob suits, then we've initiated our browser. So we have to log in into our portswigger.net. All right. Okay. Then we have to log in into our account. Although let me log out of this account, then log in into another account. Yes, all right. So let me put in my password. So I should log in. All right. So this is the platform, this is the account we'll be working with. All right. So we can go to our academy. Okay. So from our academy, this is where we are. All right. So we resume. Okay. So in our last lab, we're able to solve this file path traversal simple case. All right. And I want to believe virtually every one of us is at I've been able to solve this particular lab. All right. So we'll be continuing from here today. Then once we are doing that, what we want to look at this evening is access control. All right. So for the access control, that's what we want to follow, we want to walk through. Then I want us to pay close attention. All right. So when we talk about access control is basically you trying to, after your authentication, you have your authentication, you have your authorization, you have your, session management, you have your access control. All right. So access control basically is just, you are giving a particular access to some set of people. That is, when you have a platform, an application, or a website, you have an admin access. All right. You have an admin access. You have some people, an admin access usually have the right to read and what? To read and write. Why just ordinary user access might just be given you just only read option. That is, you as a user, you cannot do some things on an application. For instance, your Facebook, you as a user cannot delete someone else, cannot delete someone else's account with your own credential. But someone that has an admin right can do that effectively without stress. All right. So we say access control is the application of constraints on who or what is authorized to perform actions or access to resources. You understand? So you can't access some certain resources. All right. So in the context of web application, access control is dependent on authentication and section management. All right. So for you to establish access control, it depends on the authentication and then the session management. All right. So what is authentication? That is, you are trying to confirm that this is the person. This is who this person says he is still the same person. All right. So you are confirming that they are who they say they are. All right. Why the session management just identify, a subsequent of your HTTP request, uh, uh, trying to understand that, oh, this particular request is from the same user. All right. Then the access control is now what determines what and what can they do. What can they do? For instance, I've been able to log in. My system has been able to have a good understanding that it is still the same wallet that's logged in earlier that is still coming back to log in again. All right. So once your system is able to depict that, then knowing fully well that there's a perfect communication between you when you are coming back, you've created your account on the platform, you come back to come and log in, it's going to check, is it the same person? Yes, it is the same person. So you can authenticate the person. All right. So after that, the session management is going to check the traffic coming. Is it from you as well, Ren? The access control will now be, oh, can he access the admin folder? No, he doesn't have a right to access the admin folder. So that is the access control. So that is what determines whether a user is allowed, to carry out the action that they want to perform or not. All right. So we now have, broken access control. Broken access control is one of the OWASP top 10. There is something we call OWASP top 10. OWASP top 10 is just like a framework in which we, pen tester, test all applications against. All right, we have top 10 OWASP framework. You can have your broken authentication, SQL injection. So those were the basic frameworks. Those were the basic things we look in testing either our web app, either our mobile app. You understand? Because we try to go to OWASP platform to check what are the current, how did they, rate those attacks that are being, that are being prevalent in the industry. So we now test our platform against that. All right. So broken access control is one of the things that was discussed. All right. So these are common and often present a critical security application vulnerabilities. All right. So design and management of access control is a complex and dynamic problem that applies, business, organizations, and legal constraints to a technical implementation. All right. So you can say your access control design decisions have to be made by human, so that the potentials for error is high. All right. So what you're trying to tell us is just that access control are being decided. The decisions either being programmed or anything is being done by human. So the tendency of you, making a mistake is very, very high. All right. So this is a diagrammatical, implementation of what an access control is all about. For instance, you have an admin, you have your own account. This is your bank account here. And you have an admin account. That's like the back end. You understand? So an admin can ask the right to delete. Whereas you as a user of GT or Fidelity or Access or Unity or any bank have the right to only transfer a loan. You can't delete. All right. So an admin can delete the users, can delete you away, can delete you. You understand? But you can't do such. So now this is someone that acts like an intruder. You understand? An intruder trying to access a normal user account by following this insecurewebsite.com/account/so to GPA. And the same user try to access the admin platform by doing more or less like trying to get slash, when you load a website, you can do /admin to see if they are vulnerable. By just you type in just /admin, you can see an admin login page. You can see if it is locked or not, if it is free, if it is really open to you vulnerabilities, just exploit it. All right. So those are the basic tasks that you can do to see if you can hack a system. All right. So this guy is trying to access the admin panel, admin access, so that he can do what an admin will do, such as deleting. Even he can move money without some restrictions by trying to boycott, because it will always act as an admin. He has a higher right. All right. So that's what that is all about. All right. So we have what we call vertical privilege escalation. So vertical privilege escalation is just you trying to say, okay, for instance, I've gained access. If a user can gain access to functionality that they are not permitted to access, then this is what vertical escalation. So you've gained access into what you are not expected to have account to have access to. For instance, as a normal user now, you are able to gain access into an admin page where you can delete a user account. So that is that's a privilege escalation. Normally, you can't, from our previous illustration, all you should be able to do is just what? It's just to transfer money. All right? It's just to transfer money. But now you now have access into the admin, you can delete. So that is what we call what? Vertical escalation, privilege escalation. That's your vertical privilege escalation. All right. So let's click on continue. So we have unprotected functionalities. It's just, I've actually explained those ones previously. For most basic, vertical privilege escalation arises when an application does not enforce any protection for sensitive functionalities. All right. So for instance, now might be that you can link from an administrator's welcome page but not from a user's welcome page. However, so a user might be able to access the administrative functions just by using just a normal, login, just by you logging in as a user alone. You can access admin, rights. So normally you shouldn't be able to do that. If you want to check some vulnerable websites, now if you want to gain access into their admin, you can just type www so 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 so, load the page, move to the other end, put /admin. See if it's going to pop up something to you. If you can access it without stress, that means the functionality is unprotected. All right. So when you look at that /admin, you can even put .index. For instance, most of those platforms, if you know, maybe it's written with PHP, you can just put load the URL /index.php, load it, just put admin. See, maybe it's going to fetch you information. Those are the kind of tests you can perform as a pen tester, as an ethical hacker, to see if a particular platform is vulnerable. All right. So that's what this is talking about, unprotected functionality. So normally when you look at this URL, you should not be able to access the admin of this website. But because it is vulnerable, there is a high tendency that you'll be able to access the admin, page. All right. So, okay, they said this might be accessible by any user, not only administrative user who has the link to the functionality in their user interface. All right. So that's just that, by the way. Okay, so the administrative URL might be disclosed in other locations such as robots.txt file. So you can always, when you see, a lot of logs of files, you can always look out for robots.txt. Robot.txt is an important, extension that you can always look out for. So you can log into any website, just put robots.txt. It might disclose, it might unveil some information that are very, very important for you. All right. So even if the URL, isn't disclosed anywhere, an attacker may be able to use a word list to brute force the location for the sensitive functionality. All right. So an attacker can be able to just launch brute force. Once you can gain access to the admin page, you understand. Once you can gain access to the admin page, all you just need to do is you can start by using things like info@portsuiga.net. You understand? Something admin@portsuiga.net or admin123 PASSWD as username. So you just keep on trying some general words that you think a developer can use just to quickly, save the admin page so that it can be easier for them each time they come to log in. So those are the kind of ways in which you can test those platforms. Some developers will have forgotten that they use a weak password during the process of development, so they don't change it. Developers are lazy to some extent, so you can always leverage on those mistakes, on those lazy aspect of their job to exploit any application or to test any application as against vulnerabilities. All right, so that's that for now. I don't know, do you have any question before we move into the lab to test an unprotected admin functionality? I don't know. Do you have any question? Hello? Do you have any question? I'm not hearing any response from us. No question, right?
Yes.
Okay, no voila. Let's move on. That's fine. All right, so we can go. Okay, so let's move straight to our lab. Just like we used to do, we click on our access the lab. What is happening? Okay. All right. So, well, normally we should have turned on our intersects. As I go to lab, view robot.txt by adding /robot.txt to the lab URL. Notice that the disallowed line discloses the path to the admin panel. So in the URL, replace robot.txt with slash administrator, slash slash to load this and delete what? Carlos. All right. So let me try and load this. Okay, let me say I've loaded this platform. All right. So I was told to do what? Go to the lab and view robot.txt by slash what? So what we want to do now is we want to check our robot. Like I told us, just always use this robot.txt file to always check if there are some necessary information that can be gotten. All right, slash robot.txt. So let's load it. Let's see. Oh, so now when you input this robot.txt, it's telling you that users agent disallowed, right? All right, disallowed slash administrator panel. All right. So from this response code, I can always try backslash administrator panel, isn't it? So since that one we couldn't log in with that, let's try with backslash administrator panel. We might be lucky. It might fetch us what we are looking for, and it might not. Let's see. Wow. Now, there is an issue there. Normally, since that robot.txt is not working, of my own opinion, I'm going to say that it shouldn't have sent, suggested or give us an hint to what could be the actual value for us to be able to access the admin panel, isn't it? So those are the kind of flaws that we have from the developer's end. So normally I would tag this as improper error handling. You understand? So when you hit an error, it shouldn't be giving you information on what is happening or what to do. It should have just been like, oh, something, admin page not accessible. You understand? Something like that. Or user disallowed. Or what you want to do is disallowed. Without it suggesting that use slash administrator, panel for you to be able to gain access. All right. So now from that information, we are even able to gain access to it, although we were told that we should replace robot.txt with what? Backslash administrator panel to load the admin panel. But you could see that once you input robots.txt, it gives you an information. And that information is now what you are now able to use to log in without reading our documentation. All right. So we are asked to delete what? We should delete Carlos. So we've logged in. Let's delete Carlos. Successfully done. Then we fix our lab. All right. Do we have anyone that has any question? Please ask question. Kindly ask your question now. So we fixed the lab. Okay. All right. Mr. Shegun, you can go ahead. Mr. Shegun, you can ask your question, please.
Sorry, that's a mistake.
All right. All right. So do you have anyone that has question, please? If you have any question, please let us know. No question. All is gospel truth. Okay. Let's go ahead. All right. So I can go ahead, right? Please give me a response.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you can go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so we've continued at that. All right, so you can go ahead, ask your question, please. Good evening.
Okay, my question is, when you were explaining, you said you can always use that slash admin to bypass some unsecured sites and some sites that are not that strong. But based on
I did
what
not,
we've been
I did
saying
not
now,
get
we
that.
could,
Can you come again? Can you come again, please? It's a
I
bit.
said based on your explanation, you said you can always use slash and admin. But on this thing you solve now, we use administrator type dash panel
Okay.
admin. Is
Okay.
must we complete the administrator or can always try the admin, just admin?
All right. So the way it is this. The way it is this. Whenever you are trying to attack an application or pen test or check out some things, it's not really necessarily that you write them in full. If you try admin and it's not working, you can try administrator. All right. So I wasn't really even saying that you should always check with admin. It's not like a must, but you can attempt that, check your admin. If admin doesn't work, check administrator. If administrator doesn't work, check administrator, IVN panel. You understand? And if you can't try that, you can, but I'm of this opinion that always try to use your robot.txt first. Check it, whatsoever response that you get. All right, then that will guide you on it. If it's able to give you some hints, then you can go ahead and try those hints. All right, so there's no a stereotyped style or a stereotype ways of parameters for testing a particular website. You just keep on trying. That's why you are intelligent. You are smart people. You keep on trying different means until you're able to gain access. All right, but don't be surprised that the little thing you might be little might be what that particular application is vulnerable to. So you don't just overlook something. Try everything, no matter how stupid it might look. Attempt it. All right. So I don't know if that answers Ada's question.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay. All right now. So I think we can go ahead. Uluwakemi, you're asking a question. I didn't understand your question. You say, how can I bring back proxy on Bob Suits menu tab? So can you go to proxy? Can you click on proxy? Then once you're on proxy, you see your intercept. Click on intercept. Or you removed it totally. I didn't get that. Please, if you can unmute yourself, that would be nice.
Sorry, good evening.
Good evening.
I want to ask for the question, please.
I didn't get that, please.
Okay, so the question is like in that box, you are going to see what's it called, various tabs. You told us to click on proxy, then will not be the intercept and all like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that proxy there. That's what I'm trying to, and I've even uninstalled it. I installed it back. The message I'm getting is error.
That's a serious issue.
Then something.
That's a serious issue. That must have been peculiar to you. So there must have been something you've clicked. All right. So I felt there must have been something you've clicked that's not allowing you to see those things. So maybe we can look at that later. Maybe once we just create like 5 minutes for that towards the end of the class. All right. Is that gotten? All right. So let's move on with our labs. All right. So we are moving on into, okay, we fixed this particular lab. So we can click on continue. Okay. So for the next one is unprotected functionality. All right. It's still what we are trying to exploit for this particular lab. So for that one, we said, in some cases, sensitive functionality is concealed by giving it a less predictable URL. You understand now? They try to, conceal some level of information. Admin is prevalent. You can always check admin. You can always check administrator. You can even always check administrator underscore Ivan panel. You understand? So things like that are part of the things you can check. But looking at this lab we want to access now, it's a lab where the developer is trying to be smart and intelligent, understand, trying to make it much more secured. And what did the developer add? He added YB556. That is, it's hard for you to think of an administrator panel URL having YB556, except you are one spirit being. So it is hard for me to know. I myself that is talking to be very, very difficult for me to know that this is how this developer has, cloned the URL that leads to the what? Has defined the URL that leads to the administrator panel, except I am able to access the source code. All right. So if I access the source code, I can decide on all this. Okay. So we are talking about a so-called security by obscurity. So that's an example of what happened here. Security by obscurity. You are hiding sensitive functionality by by ensuring that it does not provide effective access control. All right. So that's that. Then we can also say that this might not be directly, guessable by an attacker. However, the application might still link the URL to users. For instance, the URL might be disclosed in JavaScript that constructs the user interface based on the user's role. All right, so that's one, based on the user's role. So you might have an information like this. This is just like a script. Yeah, this is a script. This is a script telling you, this is more or less like a PHP script. No, it's not a PHP script. This is a script. This is a JavaScript. All right, a JavaScript code telling you, oh, you declare your variable. Like when you declare variable is admin as false, you are saying that variable means when you're saying something is variable, it means something that can change. All right. But when you say something is constant, you're saying that that thing cannot change. All right. Is that gotten? A minute. So you're saying that thing cannot change. So you're already learning programming gradually. All right. So please don't forget to fill your attendance form. It's already in the chat. You can do that as well as we are going through the class. So you are saying variable is admin. You are saying that if is admin, if variable is admin is assigned false, right? If your if conditional statement, if is admin, that is, you are saying when you call on is admin is false, it's going to check this. Anytime it's saying is if is admin, to always assign a false, that is not admin. Give this output, that is variable admin panel tag equals to, you are printing out and you are saying your document to create an element set of A. Then for the admin tag, you set it as to have an attribute of the URL, the URL you're about to check. All right. When you set the value, is going to have that URL. This is that the obscured security URLs that has this YBB. Then you now say admin panel.type.inner text. You're creating to be the admin panel. So with this, you already have an int. At least it's returning something. So what this script does is just that it adds a link to the user's UI. So if you are not an admin user, all right, so it's going to add a link to the user's UI if you are an admin rather. It's going to add a URL, this URL, particular URL to your user if you are an admin. So that's just the work it's going to do. However, the script containing the URL is what is visible to all users, regardless of what of their role. So if it happens to be you are an admin, it's going to add this URL to you. But now you are not an admin and it's not assigning this URL to you, but it is still visible to every user. So that's part of the ways in which you can exploit that particular URL as well. All right, so for this lab now, what we want to achieve in this lab is that we are saying that it has an unprotected admin functionality with unpredictable URLs. All right. So for the lab now, we want to look into it by saying, okay, this lab has an unprotected admin panel. Then it's located at an unpredictable location. No one knows anything that is done by the developer, but the location is disclosed somewhere in the application of which you and I don't know yet. So we want to solve this lab by accessing what the admin panel and using it to delete what the users. All right, so that's what we want to do. So let's check through the solution step. The solution says that review the lab homepage source using Bob Suite or your web browser developer tool. Okay, we can use Bob Suite. We can use web browser developer tool. Observe that it contains some JavaScript that discloses the URL of the admin panel. Okay, JavaScript codes. Let's see if we can see something admin panel good for us. Load the admin panel and delete what? Carlos. Okay, so let's launch the lab. Let's launch the lab. Let's launch our lab. Let's see what is about happening. Okay, so I've launched the lab. So I was told to dictate what a JavaScript code that talks about the admin. So let me pick this. This lab has some protected, blah, blah. Then review the lab source code. Review the lab homepage source using Bob Suite or your browser to developer tool. Observe that it contains some JavaScript that discloses the URL to the admin. So let's just try. You and I, we don't know what to do, but we want to try something. Let's see. Can we inspect? We might not get what we are looking for, right? Let's close this. Let's just try. Can we view source code? These are our source code, right? We are told to do what? We're told to observe that it contains some JavaScript that discloses URL to the admin panel. Okay. Do we have any that has a URL to the admin panel? Do you have anything that talks about the admin panel? Do you have anything that talks about the admin panel? This is looking like what we are looking for, right? This is looking like what we are told. That if the admin is this, top link add this. If the admin is this, href add this. Then admin panel 1. All right. So we are both looking at it together. We are assuming that we don't even know what we are looking for. Okay. We are assuming we don't know what we are looking for. All these ones are images. But this is a place that talks about the admin. So that means the admin, this one is to assign this. All right, so Mr. Shegun, you can unmute yourself and speak, please.
You've actually did what I wanted to point out.
Okay. So when you look at it, we are looking for something that has an admin, and this is like a directory to the admin. And then we can copy this. That's what we are asked to do. I don't know. I'm just doing what we are asked to do. Okay. So let's see. All right, so let's go back to our source code. So they said load the what? Load the admin panel and delete Carlos. So we want to try to see if we can. So let's see if we can delete Carlos. So let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to our main page. So from this our main page now, I want to try to see slash. Let's paste that URL. We're having double slash already, so let's remove one. Let's see, it's going to link us to the admin panel. Fine. It's linked us to the admin panel. So we are now in the admin panel now. Then just come here, load the admin panel and delete what? And delete Carlos. This is what we'll be doing now. So what we want to do is we want to delete Carlos. So that's just the way. See, the secret behind all these things is let's delete Carlos now. Once you delete Carlos, your lab is solved. Congratulations. Right? So that's just the way it is. Now, coming here now, like, what did I want to say? I want to show you something that each time you are asked to do something, it's not that maybe it's a rocket science. It's just you have to have your good eye. Each time, see, as a pen tester, you have to be able to look through the source code. That's why I'm saying programming knowledge is key. You might not have, a full programming knowledge, but at least understanding of some basic things. Normally, if you don't know that \admin SR49 NA is like is a directory that you can enter to access the admin. You won't think of it. You won't think of it because it's not even showing, it's not being assigned as a link. All right. So you can see \admin just like the way it is. But initially we could see that this is actually talking about admin. This script is talking about admin. And that's why you easily run through here. It's a script, open here, close here. And it's talking about the admin. It's saying, oh, guy, admin false, document or get the element ID, okay? Can be anybody. But what we want you to do is, so far you can see that this person is an admin. Assign this URL to the admin. Well, if not an admin, go assign. But automatically, this is what we need. You can see that this is the value. This once it assigned this to your URL after you load the website. Once it's assigned \admin -SR49NA to the URL, automatically you're able to gain access as an admin. So that is what really happened. But we don't have the rights as a user, but we were able to gain that access by what? Inspecting the source code to see do I have anything that's talking about the admin? And while looking at it, you're able to say, oh, I have something related to admin. Let's give it a trial. And that was what we did. And we selected this, then we put it in, and we are able to solve our lab. All right. So is that gotten? So I don't know, do we have any question? Any questions so far? Because we just have to stop by these 6, then so that we solve the remaining 6 in our next class. I would have loved to, to move faster than this, but understanding is key. Understanding is key. So you can finish the remaining 6. Yeah, that's a challenge. You can finish the remaining 6. I want to see it before our next class. Finish the remaining 6, then share your screenshots to me directly. If you have any challenge, you can always enter my DM as usual. Then we sort it out. All right. So that's all for today. Any question? Any question, please? Do you have any question? All is true, right? All is clear. All is gospel truth. Don't mind me. Do you have any question? Please ask your question now, so that you won't start tagging me and be sending me messages that I won't know. I don't know when I will have time to respond. So you can ask your question now, please. If you have any question either within this scope or outside this scope of, of this exercise, you can always ask. Don't forget to fill your attendance form, please. So no question. All right. So Oluwakemi, I think we can move to your challenge. Let's fix it.